All right. Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today for Eberron adventure that we'll be publishing on DMsGuild using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 rules. Give me a second here to check in on my signal. Make sure that I'm coming through clearly. I'm going to do some fast posting, and then we're going to get to work here for a couple hours. So, fast posting. It looks like I am coming through loud and clear, or at least clearly. Good enough. Let's see, grab that post here real quick. I'll do the social media stuff here real fast. Allow me to distract you with my witty origin story here. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2018, but I've never done something for Eberron. It's been my homebrew world of choice for 20 some odd years, and I'm creating content for people to consume using Dungeons & Dragons now. I should make an adventure for Eberron. The mechanics of my Eberron, you know, everyone's Eberron is different, but the stories can jump from world to world better than the mechanics that you would use for your Eberron. So, hey Fox, how you doing? I have a vacation day today, so I'm going to invest. I slept in a little bit, and I'm going to invest a couple hours here in doing some painting as I usually do in the morning. But that also means I'm going to be back in the afternoon earlier. I have a after lunch special I can run. So just to cap everything off here and close down my intro, let me switch my monitor screen around, my screen's around here so you guys can see. Here we go. If you think today is fun, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we are live in the future. It really helps. Here's a full playlist of all 476 episodes. Here's a slew of books that I've already created that are on the DMsGuild. They are all free previews, so you can read them cover to cover before you decide if they're making a difference in how you like playing your games. And if they do, consider making a purchase to encourage similar behavior in the future. I made this book cover around episode 40, so you can jump into that Wayback List and find it. Today, we are working on corn mazes. So, specifically, here is the pages that we have for the farming homesteads. There's 3 different maps: occupied, abandoned, and attacked. And from here, obviously, you can only see the exterior of the buildings until you enter one of the buildings, but we've chosen to use the attacked map. The occupied is similar to the attacked map, but there's no victims. Bloop. Let's go into here. Here's what the interior of the farmhouse looks like. It's been a few days since tragedy struck this home, and so we have the blood splatters and the fungus and the crystals growing out of the blood there, as indicated as we do when Mabaran creatures slaughter stuff. More here in the stables. Okay, and then so both of these tracks are leading away from their buildings to the general space, right? No, they're leading to the corn mazes. So one would jump to a conclusion, perhaps, that with this map in place, that people ran from the stables into the corn mazes, and once they discover blood splatter, they can perhaps deduce that more victims have fallen prey, and then there's more splatters going off into the corn maze off map. So our job then is to create a slew of little 10 by 10 vignette, like little tiles, like 10 by 10 tiles of cornmeal of corn mazes that can be stacked up and layered together, so you can have infinite corn mazes for your characters to run inside of and fight undead if that's something that they decide that they want to do. Or if you just wanted to do a running gun one shot, like find the hidden villagers in the corn maze. You've got 2 hours. Let's go. Let's just fuck around and find out. Stuff like that. I just wanted to provide the tile set here though, because in the future, like for Halloween, we could do cornfield adventure stuff where we make unique cornfield tiles that have like a gazebo in it, or like a crypt that opens up, or like an entrance to the Underdark or something that monsters are coming out of as like your monster generator, like Gauntlet style. You have a monster generator that's spitting out monsters into the corn mazes, and you go into the corn mazes to hunt the monsters and destroy the source. In this case, the source of undead is actually in the Carnwood to the northwest of where this village and this particular corn maze is located. But at that same time, you can easily just replicate any kind of farmhouse scenario like this. We're providing the assets for the farmhouse as well as for these corn mazes. And we also have tile sets for building forests, forest floor, individual trunks, canopies of trees above the above the trunks. So underneath you've got the environment characters navigate around like with rocks and fallen logs and thicket bushes to create obstacles and obscurement to make battlefields more interesting. And so you can have a perpetual forest using those tile sets as well. So one of the things that I wanted to provide in this adventure is the means for the players to expand beyond what's just written here, but to take what we're writing here to as like an easy path, kind of like Light of Xeraxis as an adventure. I'm really starting to ramble, so let's put a pin in it. Let's put a pin in expanding the concept of an adventure so that I can get things organized and actually get to work. So, but the point is that we have this initial blood splatter map that we have here, and that's obviously what we're focusing in on here, just zooming in as we do. But we have this extra space that I could either come up with an illustration, or I could just do a bunch of 10 by 10 tiles and put a couple of them down here. So like maybe I'll reduce the size. Maybe I just reduce the size of this a smidge, like down like this, so it's not overwhelming the page so much and has a little bit of breathing room. And then I've got space down here for additional tiles, so we can do something like, let's do, how are we doing down here, buddy? Come on. Is this what makes it snap to? There we go. It's the shift. So let's grab this. Let's do shift. And, I don't know, something like that. And then let's just take some black and then drop in a square here. So let's just organize this thing real quick so we can see how things could play out. Obviously, this is a very low resolution in comparison to the map above, but I think that's kind of the point. Like, these are included in the adventure. So it's kind of like advertising, like if you actually, because you can read the full adventure for free. Like everything else that I do is going to be 100% free preview, so you can just read the adventure. But I think the added value is the amount of assets that we provide to make the adventure run. So I can't imagine somebody wanting to run an adventure and not buying it. But I mean, if you don't, I totally respect that. I want to make these things available to people to make use of, regardless of if they're buying it or not. It's the sharing of the information that's really important. But you know, I'd like to do more of this for a living, so I ask for money in return. But that's just, you know, that's just capitalism. So there's that. That's sitting pretty. I don't need this. That was a spare layer. But yeah, I could put this here. And I've got enough space here. I think I'll probably concoct some extra terminology or some, like maybe have like a little separate little splash statement here about, hey, these things are tiling together, designed to interface with each other for expanding the space. Maybe when we're done, we'll add in an extra paragraph. We have the space, so obviously I can do that. So I'm thinking so. These are very small in comparison to here, but if I zoom out to here, I can still see all of it pretty good. So I like that. Yeah, this is gonna work out fine. I can expand the size of this. It's this is actually a 25 by 25 square space and only needs to be 20. So I can expand. I can go back to the original map, expand, and make this thing fit in more proper. Okay, I'm pretty confident with this right now. So sorry, I'm just organizing my thoughts. I hadn't organized this last night, so I'm doing all the prep work and stuff that we do that I would usually want to do off screen to not. It's still being saved. It's now saved. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the background, ground, cornfield, and grid. Those 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers. This is like a 55 square map, so it's a 55-inch map. We're going to duplicate all these layers, and we're going to duplicate them into a new file. And we're going to name that file cornfield tiles. Okay, now those are duplicated, and I can drop this away. It's not important right now. So our grid is fine, that stays locked in. The cornfield maze that's down in the corner, that's technically fine. The ground is a separate layer, and then we have the actual white background. So those are our 2 pieces. Let's see if it's been a while, so I'm going to remove the grid lines for now, but I need to reconstruct this piece. So I'm going to just fill, we have a lot of gaps here. I'm going to fill in those gaps with just solid ground so that we have a uniform environment for us to, basically if we fill up this grid with corn mazes, that's going to be plenty of tiles. So that's a good chunk of change that we're working on here, but I think it'll be worth it. So luckily this is all, look at that, I'm just all block. Ooh, we've got a difference here in gradation, so let me do that. This is the correct spot because this is where the corn maze actually is. So perfect, so let's do that. Just blocking it in. I'm just gonna actually, you know what? This. Yeah, let's just do that. That's easier. So that's our general just field. There. I put a pin in a conversation about expanding adventures, and I feel I want to pontificate about that. But give me a second here because I'm still figuring out these different layers. So I do need a few moments for that. Let's see. Looks like we've got just some general smudge coloring here. About a base green, a very faint base green. How is it down here? Okay, so there's lights and dark. That's darker at the top. Because that's getting further towards the forest, and then it's lighter here because it's getting more towards the cornfields. I see. Probably want to grab. Let's start here, and then we'll work this. This is a more ground. Okay, I think that's happening because of the trotting on the ground. So that might be. Let's grab our cornfield here. Yeah, I made it patchy down here specifically because of the corn, because of the paths in the corn, and then we further carved out paths in the corn. Is this just am I just stacking colors? Is that what I did? Oh, I used the conifer branch brush, and then here. See if I can find the patterns. Oh, I used the fractal brush. Oh, interesting. Because it creates patterns of grit that literally fractal from larger to smaller scale inside the same piece. So it is good for fields. It looks like I have. That's not all. That's not all. Fractal. We also have which brush is this? Oh, it's my bush brush. I see it. It is this one. Hold on, let me find it. see. Where you at, dude? There you are. My shrubbery faded brush. Check this out. Let's go with black. This little pattern here, this little eye that's going here and here, and then here and here and here. These little faded blank marks. If I were to, there's my timely timer. Let's keep it going. If I were to make a field of black here, and I were to erase some of it, I would have similar patterns of eyes and stuff. So this is basically this size resolution is what we're already seeing in this pattern here. So this is actually an issue of adding it. Oh, that's how that's working. Okay, here we laid down a field and we smudged in the field as a gradient, and then we're using an eraser mark, and the eraser is the half stroke downturn brush here. There, that's the brush we're using throughout this erasing process. So we're laying down color, and then we're creating texture by erasing color from the current layers, so the underlying layer comes through. So I understand this piece now. There's 3 different brushes that we're using. We're using a fractal brush at top to glaze things on. We've got the shrubbery brush and using both positive and negative to create texture, and then underneath that we are using the conifer brush, the conifer branch brush, to be able to create the initial base and then start carving out paths from there. So we have 3 paths that we're carving through. Okay, so let's start with, and we have the base color, which is just a round brush. So those are the 4 brushes that I'm basically using in this piece. And then we have the actual cornstalk pixels, which have an obvious up and down orientation as an icon, but when combined in mass, it looks cool as as corn, which we can see here. This is my corn brush, and then I selected all of the black corn brushes, corn stipples. I highlighted all of those, and then I reduced the size of the selection for all of them by 1 pixel. So we create this outline here, and then we color it in with this base color. And then I did some general eraser, just some light opacity erasing, just to trim down the consistency in the so it wasn't just one mass. I went through and I scrubbed out with the same corn brush. I hit like a 10% eraser opacity, so like it would erase these portions here that don't exist. Like this is empty space, so the eraser wouldn't matter here. So as I dusted across with like a very large scale eraser, it would have this faded pattern, or this faded look to the vegetation. So it being inconsistent in its erasing, I think actually just adds to the overall effect. So anyway, so there we go. So that's how we built the corn maze. And when we pan back and we add in our grid, 5-foot square grids, there you go, corn stalks. Good enough. You can move through the paths that are through the corn stalks. It's just normal movement. You can just go through the corn stalks in a straight line if you want to, but it's difficult terrain if you do, and your vision is obscured while you do, so you can't see beyond the 5 foot. You can see the adjacent squares around you, and that's it. Anything beyond that you can't see. But like if something's hunting you by smell or sound, as undead will often perhaps will do, then they can track you. Or your bioluminescence, if you want to be a shadow or shade creature. They can just track you through the maze more directly. So they can crow line to you, and you can and do so blindly unless you have some sort of sense or other some sort of vision that would allow you, like mind sense or tremor sense, are good ones as well. Scent would work as well for you to know that you're at least being crept up on. So, but just vision and dark vision, you're going to be obscured while you're running through here. So you want to be on these paths so you don't get bushwhacked. Literally the term for bushwhack. So, but we understand the pattern now. And that was what I'm rambling about here. So thank you for allowing me to ramble through that so I could reestablish my baseline. So, having said all that, I'm going to start at the top of the maze here and work my way down. Now I'm gonna actually start like this. We're gonna make separate layers. So I'm going to, let's see, we're here. Let's drop down to here. Let's look at this real quick. Here's this color. And then here's this color. Yeah, they're the same color. Okay, cool. So this is the here. There. So now if I erase it has that underlying layer underneath it. So that's good. Okay, great. So that's the base color. I'm realizing my problem here is that I was actually using this here to start carving the paths through the corn before establishing the corn patterns. So I need to, before I get any further, I need to actually build the patterns for the brushes. So I'm going to use just a simple round brush for that, and I'm going to use black on a separate layer here. Let's just lock those down so we don't make any mistakes. Keep those muted. There. Okay, so what I'm going to do is looking at our corn maze here, we're seeing that these are roughly, but not specifically 5 feet wide. So it's unless you come into like a cul-de-sac or a pocket, and then it'll be a bigger space. But it's roughly a 5 foot square. So the brush size I want to use is going to be probably best to be just a little bit bigger. So I want to make patterns now that'll look cool on a 10 by 10 scale. So the brush that we have here is 125. That's pretty good. I'm going to take down here to a smaller font size. I'm going to just put a pin here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. Copy, paste. I'm going to have one square of separation between the two to help depict the tiling effect. There's another one. And what the hell? Do another one here. Merge those layers, duplicate. One square separation, duplicate, drop this down. Might that get weird? Weird. So let's duplicate that layer. There we go. And then duplicate the layer. So this is a 4x4 grid with some gap built into it. So 1, 2, yeah, 4x4. And now we can here to here. Merge those down. Let's do, how perfectly do we want to tile all these? Let's take our brush back up to 125. go bop, 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 bop. What is going on? Do not need that. Nothing there, do not need. Let's see. I'm stuttering here right now because I am in the process of, that's what I want to do. I want to do, no, goddamn, I don't. I'm trying to, there, okay, get rid of that. And cornfield is here. How big is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 by 24. That's weird. So, what I need to do is 24. Oh boy, this is going to take a little bit of surgery. Let's take the ground and the corn maze. Again, we're going to duplicate those in a separate layer. Nope, wrong. Let's go to duplicate as a new document. Let's see, reduced. There we go. And now, this is all for a purpose. Hold on. I want to isolate this. Image, crop. There we go. Now it's bite-sized, and I can 2 by 2 duplicate this and take it to the cornfield tiles. Okay. And then over here in the cornfield tiles, we now have the 2 by 2 grid. Is something, oh yeah, ground. I froze the ground, hold on. Like this. So now what I want to do is duplicate the group, merge the group into a single layer. 1, 2, 3, 4. These need to be gone. Accurate statement. Let's grab our brick. Come on, Kearney, what are you trying to do? Accurate answer is select and cut. So we can build a template out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Cut, paste, separate. And then here, bring the tile up here. bring that to here. This becomes the foundation for this set of tiles. And then here, we already have it broken. What I need to do is grab this. Here we go. And drop that into position here on the grid. And then we grab our highlight tool here. Let's do it this way. There, that's been separated, and now we can merge it back together. And again. So I'm going to probably replace the map with something new. But I wanted to grab these things and have them because the cornfield is just whatever it is. It's obviously not very well organized. So I want to, let's see, let's take the cornfield as it is, drop it down, get the important components, just get the general outline of it, and then break that up into those 10 by 10 spaces. You see how like this central space that in the actual map we had a big like a big blood puddle here where somebody got caught out. And when we have things lined up like this, it's sitting in the center of the tile. But when we break it up like this, it's literally being broken up into 2 or possibly 4 different tiles here, like corners of it. But the bulk of it is being split, so that's not good. I need to rebuild this and reorient it. This loop here. I like this. This is like a really, really good space. It's got 1 left, 1 bottom, and 1 right entry point. So this is actually a really cool tile. This is also a really great tile. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of entry. What I'm going to end up doing is, and then this one here is 1, 2, 3. I'm probably what I want to do is have 1, 2, 3. I probably want to have 2 points of entry. Maybe 2 or 3 points of entry for each corn maze, and being able to tile it. I don't want to have it just be like square on square, you know, like hold on, let's do like I don't want to have this be just like here's my 1 point of entry, here's my 1 point of entry, here's my 1 point of entry, and here's my 1 point of entry. Like I don't want it to be perfectly centered square like that, because it's going to feel inorganic. But what I can do is have 3 points of entry that are roughly equidistant from each other, so that I actually have 12 points of entry. And then some tiles can line up and some don't. And if they don't line up, they just basically they just run into a dead end. There it is. It's a dead end. I could also bubble the margins a little bit so that I could have tiles that are just little islands that cut themselves off. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe that's what we'll do. But yeah, this is our pattern of activity. So we're going to attempt to tile these things. That is not necessarily an easy task. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of that, and here and here. Let's go down to here, and let's just do an outline of the pathways that this thing is traveling. And 125 feels too large, so I'm going to drop down to 100. So we're going to go to here. I'm just doing some rough. I'm just basically doing the outline of what the paths are in here. The paths will be the blank spot, and then yeah, I don't want to have that there. The paths will be blank spots on the ground, and then the rest of the area that is not pathway will be filled in with the corn maze pattern. And but yeah, we're rebuilding this here so that we can see how these basic shapes that we've already established, how can we recycle them. And look at that, we got like a little mound down here that we're not making use of. So That's a thing. We would break this up into 10 by 10. I can now make this invisible for the time being. Let's take this, we'll fade it a little bit so we can see the dots more easily through it. But let's go over here. Thank you, Tommy Timer. And just start chopping this up into basic shapes. So here's a basic shape, right? Cut, paste. And here we'll, yeah, see, this is a pretty good piece. But it's off center. Yeah, so I want to grab here like this. Probably cut that free here. This is yeah, this is what we're doing today. We're carving up these paths. We're making spaces out of it. Sorry, word salad. Don't mind me. Words there. That one literally goes off the page, so I can trim that here. But this is a good shape. See, it bottlenecks in at an entry point, and then it flares out into this shape, and then it leads off another direction. So it's got multiple paths. And this one is much more linear, but it's offering 4 pathways. Let's clean that up a bit. Clean that up. Trim those down for now, but we're going to standardize the entry points, the connection points. And this one looks like it is occupying too much space, so let's trim that down there. Yeah, we'll get the general shapes, and then we'll restructure them so that they conform with the area that they occupy. So we can have 2 point, 3 point, and 4 point entry. 2, 3, and 4 entry points with different variable connectors. Yeah, should be fine. There we go. This is a good example. Let's grab a round brush for eraser. Thin that down. Erase here. Okay, so those are all our official shapes that we are starting with that came from the corn maze that we destroyed. Let's see, one of these needs to have, oh, there we go. Let's just merge these. I'm just gonna merge these down. See if I can bring this down so it's just a curved touch. The only thing I lament is that it's not radial symmetry, so there'll be an obvious up and down because of how the corn stalks are oriented, which reduces the amount. Well, you know what? I could just take these and flip them and then add in corn that way. That's a lot of work. Hey guys. Got some birds that are kicking up a fit out the door here. There we go. We're going to add that in here. So that's probably not the position that I want. 1, 2, 3. These are 10, right? So if I had 10. But an inconvenient size. I always work in 10s, and it's not easy to split it because you have 2 halves in the center, right? You have like 4.5 and 4.5 blocks beyond a central square. So odd numbers would actually be optimal for this, but I like working in 10s. It's just what I do. So I gotta find, because if I, okay, so I can't center. I have to have 3 from the top. We go 1, 2, 3 from the top. So we block in here as an entry point, and then 1, 2, 3 we block in here as an entry point, and that leaves 2 points. No, we're gonna do 2 and 2. 1, 2, third down. 1, 2, third down. That leaves 4 in the middle. So we'll have these 4 entry points. 1, 2, space. Yeah, 1, 2, space, like that. So those will have 8 points. Those will be our points of entry. So knowing that those are our points of entry, this one, for instance, is off, but not by much. Let me just grab this and we can drop it down, and then 1, 2. This is our point of entry, so I need to skew this over like that. That's perfect. This here, 1, 2 from the top, so that's our entry point. So we can make this mound here like this. That's fun. I'm going to have to make sure that we've got uniform, a uniform border among all of these without being too obvious, but definitely around the points of entry. Like the square above and below are going to need to be the same corn stalk, need the same corn stalks. They need to be the same corn stalks on each tile. So there's going to be that conforming factor there, so that I can do things like this, like have this bubble nub here rub right up against the edge of the tile, so that when I snap it to another tile, it won't look too weird. Let's demonstrate that if we can. Stop screwing around. Take this one, and we can cut, paste, free transform, flip vertical. I didn't flip properly, but this is where it's supposed to be at. So if I were to drop this in here and connect, and if I curve this one down, those two connect, they don't look too weird. Or maybe I could fill it in completely. I want to have at least a little curve in case this ends up being a dead end. I need at least a little bit of tapering, but it probably doesn't have to be very pronounced. I'm gonna have to manicure each one of these entry points similarly. It'll be a little bit of a ride, but when they click together, they don't look too bad. They don't look too bad. Let's get you out of the way, and let's be sure. Very, very specific. Too specific. It's not going to survive. The cornrows will come in and it'll be messier. And that'll probably actually just be for the... But that looks good. That looks good enough. And since we're going to have all this, basically, these lines is going to become negative space. It's not going to be that exact. But if I get it that precise, where we're at right now, the whole thing will end up looking okay. So I just need to... I don't need to be I don't have to be perfect with it. I just need to be able to fill it in. So that is officially a good looking... That's a decent pattern. So, and then we have two here. So we're going to do basically the same thing. Copy, paste, free transform. This might actually be the best way to do it. Take those shapes we already built and just click them into position. Yeah, so I put a pin in the conversation about expanding on an adventure, and Lattice Axis, for example, is a good one. I run playtests. When I do playtests, I basically make campaigns. I'll take one of the adventures that Wizards has published, and I'll convert that adventure into the style and format that's going to, in my opinion, work best with what the playtest is. The current playtest that I'm running is an exception. It's specifically a mega dungeon because we're specifically testing combat and exploration mechanics, or investigation mechanics is probably a more accurate term. And so that's a very concentrated, it's a concentrated focus, so it's a concentrated campaign. Mega dungeon was the best way to do that. So I created my own mega dungeon to run the team through with like a narrative and stuff like that. It's just very light dressing, so that it can function well as a run-around test environment, you know? I feel like I'm repeating my words a lot, so forgive me there. But for the Spelljammer document, the Spelljammer supplement that I created, which is linked down below, that we ran both Descent into Avernus and Lattice Axis using those mechanics in playtests to make sure that that it works inside of scenarios that actually exist. And it ended up being a lot of fun because we just kind of like have a very light episodic sort of narrative about bouncing from target to target. I would just basically fill in, hey, here's the narrative of what's setting up your characters being here. And here's the scenario, the thing that I want to play test. So have at it. Like the Wasp Nest, for example, in Descent into Avernus, the team was on Marauder trucks, which are huge size 15 by 15 trucks. And they had siege weapons on them, so the goal was to defeat the Wasp Nest because plot point. And so the team attacked the Wasp Nest, and you know, I had a bunch of Wasps attack them, and they eventually wanted to finish off the scenario, so got off of the trucks, because the trucks are 15 by 15, so, and the Wasps are large, so, and the Wasps squeeze through a 5-foot space to get in and out of their nest. So I couldn't have the trucks go into the nest, but the team wanted to defeat the Wasp Nest, so the playtest only demanded that they fight large-sized flying creatures while operating the vehicles and the siege weapons. But when they got through fighting off the wasps, and the numbers were now weak in just defending the queen inside of the nest, that's the team's like, yeah, let's get off of this and let's finish off the nest. And so they decided just to follow through on that. So it was it's a very light campaign, like it wasn't a lot of role playing and story development. It was just basically running from story beat to story beat to set up new playtest scenarios, as I've been discussing. And let's see, that's there. This has actually been skewed, so I need to move this back over. Nope, I need to move this to here. Thank you. So that's an example of contracting the adventures. It's like cutting to the chase, getting to the combats, and rolling through different combat scenarios that are presented in the adventure. You're not actually running the adventure. You're just running a portion of the adventure to execute, in this case, for playtest purposes. And it was an environment that people were already familiar with, and so it became like a very abridged version of the campaign. That if you've ran that campaign already, you'll be able to have a literal comparison of, here's the combat scenarios, all the role-playing stuff is the same, all the social exploration is the same, just the combat is different because that's what the system is changing. That becomes valuable and relevant and efficient, but still, again, using a narrative that people are familiar with. But you can expand on content of an adventure as well, which is the point that I was trying to make. So thanks for the long-winded setup. The point here now is that we can, like in the case of Light as Araxis, we used the combat just as the beats in the adventure for us to do the playtesting for the Spelljammer mechanics. But the way that Light as Araxis is actually organized is that there's a presumed time crunch that's happening throughout the course of the adventure that's trying to rush your characters or encourage and hurry your characters towards fighting the big bad and saving the day. But there's weeks and potentially months of downtime between different locations in that adventure, depending on how you run intercrystal travel, like how long it takes you to get from one crystal sphere to another in your campaign. And so that allows for a ton of additional content to be fed in during these downtimes. And Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and that's a literal hex crawl to get you to the dungeon. So if you're not being focused on, we want to cut to the chase on what's actually in the adventure, like get us to the dungeon, we run around the dungeon, sure, you'll cut short the amount of hex crawl stuff that you do. But if your team is just gonna be there just to run through stuff and have fun and do character development and just be a little organic with how the adventure is built, then you can run through these hex crawls and know that eventually one of these is going to be the dungeon. Like when we get to the dungeon, we're at the dungeon. In the meantime, we can continue crawling through and finding stuff that could become, say, resources for us to make use of in the dungeon, or like to establish connections with another, like a tribe or something nearby. So if our characters die,
We have a location that we can get new characters from and start building a narrative from that perspective. And maybe even when our character dies, we can have some rumors about different traps and stuff that are in the dungeon that maybe this local tribe would be aware of through its own folklore of having X amount of adventuring teams hiring warriors from this tribe to assist them in the dungeon, and some of them came back incomplete but still alive and would share and provide information about what's in that thing. So if you start building into that resource, you can maybe get partial maps or information about like what kind of traps are in there, like what are some of the weird puzzles that you're encountering with the creatures. Like that can be fed to you as a consequence of having died, like a consolation prize. Your character dies, so now you need a new character, but because you took the time to expand on the adventure and establish connections to this community, your new character can come from that community, and because of that, you now get the rest of the map for the area that you're working on right now. Or I'll give you this clue to this puzzle that got your character killed if your team had to back away from it, for instance. So you can build in these gamified points. There you go. Let's take this cap. It should be like that. So introducing Dungeon of the Mad Mage has enough information for you to be able to percolate your own ideas for hex crawling and what kind of things you want to have running around inside there, but it created an environment where you could do that. It was hex crawl friendly. It was intentionally trying to create an environment that you could hex crawl with in a campaign that could run through 20th level. That's good guidance. I think that's responsible. That's responsible adventure design. So I similarly want to be able to have elements that make expanding on the adventure easier and make it more natural for your team to be able to operate inside the space. So having little tile sets like this helps lean into those options. Works down. Let's grab that tip. Copy, paste. That's all I was trying to say. That was a lot of word salad about not a very big payoff. So sorry about that, but that was the point I was trying to make. I'm not the problem I'm having is I'm having to keep my brain partially engaged and scrutinizing what I'm doing while I'm doing it, while my brain really wants to just ramble like I do with my artwork normally in the mornings. I'm not having that opportunity to just ramble on freely as I prefer. So I'm a little trapped. I'm going to bring this over to here. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave this like that. I'm going to... oh, that's what I'll do. I'll flip this. So, I stream 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning like this. I do artwork. Normally it's like from 6:30 till 8, but I have a holiday today, so I don't have to stop at 8 o'clock. I'm noticing it's almost 8 o'clock. So what I'm going to do instead is take a sip of coffee. Good. Copy, paste. bring that footsie up to here. We do that. Nice. This is going to work out. I've done a lot of tiling. I think I'm getting better at it. One thing that I would like to do, it's been on my wish list, is make a Descent into Avernus. Descent into Avernus is like an infinite plane of battleground, and one thing that is present on a lot of battlegrounds are foxholes or like trenches. And so I want to make a tiled trench space, like at the 50-foot scale, so you can take Infernal War Machines through them. Yeah, that's what I would really like to do. So you can tile out miles and miles worth of mecha-sized trenches and foxholes and bunkers, and then make a salvage, like a mech salvage campaign out of it, where you're going through bunkers specifically to look for tech and weaponry to improve your war machines, establish a base inside of the bunkers, and occasionally have to deal with the blood war spilling over in your direction where your base of operations is set up. It's implied by Mad Maxine, the night hag mechanic that you find. She's got a shop. She's got a mechanic shop, basically, to work on Infernal War Machines, which is an awesome opportunity to create bastion facilities for Infernal War Machines, specifically like binding souls to coins could be a facility, and then like actually like a repair bay for your truck would be a facility, and then like upgrades and like equipping like an armory for the siege weapons. That would be a really good facility for Infernal War Machine truck. What would that be? Repair shop or mod shop. Hey, what's up? Stepped out for a meeting and the corn is harvested. I was gone for a whole crop season. Right. Yeah, we're currently making patterns to go through the corn mazes. So this is the initial step of building out these tiles, of creating these little points. Here's our 8 points, and all of the tiles that we're building match these points, and then coupled together in a realistic way, so that once we have these lines that we're building are actually the negative space, and we're going to put in all the corn in between those spaces, and then just leave these as trampled ground, as we were looking at earlier. But I can't add in all that trampled ground stuff until I have all of these individual tiles built, so I know what that negative space looks like for us to be able to create these effects. So, thus let Bob be your uncle. And we're going to build out 16 of them. So, and yeah. So, actually, we might not build 16. We might build like 6 and then like flip and rotate them around inside, like this one, like this one, like this one and this one are fairly similar. This one is pretty unique unto itself. This is a unique one, so I'd want to leave those unique. But like this one and this one are common enough looking shapes that I could probably like flip those like horizontally as well as vertically, and get 3 tiles, get 6 tiles out of those 2. So I actually only need 10 tiles. So I bet I could make another like central hub sort of affair and flip it horizontally and vertically, because the corn is only one direction. So if I were to like rotate this tile 90 degrees, all the corn would be pointing to the left and it would look weird. So I need replicating flipped patterns to be able to get more out of the set, but still have all of the corn facing upward. When you grab these, and if you don't care, you can make them face any way that you want and have literally infinite scale, infinite tiling corn. But 16 corn tiles, like with 8 unique, it would be 7 unique tiles and 3 tiles that are replicated and flipped symmetrically in different directions. That'll be enough variety. That'll be 9. So 3 flipped 3 times. That'll be 9, and then out of 16, 7 unique ones. That should be enough variety that it's like, yeah, we get it. Corn mazes. Like at that point, you're probably going to be content. So you only really need to run through like probably 3 or 5 of these tiles before your team is like, I got it. Unless you're doing specific, like I was talking about, doing like corn maze adventures as like a Halloween treat sort of thing. Then I could build this out, and then I could just swap out a unique tile set for like Halloween Corn Maze Season 1, and then have like a unique 1 or 2 or 3 tiles that have like mini maps, like have like little dungeons inside of them, or it's like a shrine, or it's like a gazebo, or like a felled corn husker machine that's gone rogue or something like that. Who knows? But I can have like little unique tiles for the characters to find in the corn maze. But while you're in the corn maze, there's monsters that can try to ambush you, or traps that go off, or whatever the scenario is. But we'd be able to build different scenarios like that. So the tile set has more use than just this adventure, but then that leans into the conversation I was having about scaling up and expanding on the adventure and having opportunity, like creating points of entry, as it were, for you to be able to expand on the content of the adventure itself. So that's what you missed. You're caught up. So we know that the 2 points of entry are going to be the 3rd and the 7th square on each map. So like this one is wrong currently. I have to build that. This one is not correct yet either. So that's what we're working on. That's what we're working on. Now, I don't have to be exact with these shapes. I just want to, make them look good. As this isn't the actual product. This is just where we're at right now. This is okay. Yeah, we can do it like that. But I will be doing this I'm going to be doing this till 9 o'clock Seattle time. It's 8 o'clock now, so we'll spend an hour building tiles like this. And then I'll probably be pretty content for the day. I'm going to be back. Let's see. We're working on Warlock subclasses. That's one of the things. Let's put this here so it's in the proper position. Nice, yeah, and we can make a big Gordy knot over here for this, so this could become a unique tile. Again, you can go through the corn as difficult terrain. There's nothing that stops you. It's just that you don't have your vision is obscured beyond the adjacent. Like you can only see into the adjacent squares while you're in the corn, and it's difficult terrain, obviously, so it's slower movement, and it's virtually impossible to be quite like your massive disadvantage. There's only this. You're disadvantaged on stealth checks while you're actually moving through corn. You can have normal stealth moving through the established paths, and you have the visibility in the directions that you can see, and you can see into the 5-foot space that's flanking you, but you can still be ambushed by things rushing from the corn. So fun. I declare that fun. This is fun. This is speaking of fun, if we limit this down here like this, now we can like make a big knot, like a big boil up here. could even push it all the way up here. Fun. Oh, that's fun. I love that shape. This is great. But we're sculpting it so that it's self-contained space here as just like a, again, it's just a clearing. But if we put a tile up against it, that clearing then expands into oops, wrong one. Let's just grab this one real quick. There you go. Clicks into place. Or it looks good standing alone. In both instances, I think that's a pretty good setup. So, I mean, I haven't sculpted it properly yet, but that works. It works well enough that we could tile that. And it's interesting. So, you're leading from node to node. Here's a central point. This is going to lead you off in these different directions. There we go. Pretty happy with how this is shaping up. This is going to work. But yeah, it'd be fun to do similar tiling for Descent into Avernus to, like, each square is 50 feet, so you'd have plenty of room. You know, you could ride 2 or 3 Marauders wide, or 2 Grinders wide, or you could have like one of the Devil's rides. You could have, 4 Devil's rides. Let's merge those down since we're sitting here. This is actually the only one that we don't need merged. There, like that. And actually, now that we're talking about it, let's fade this one down so it's a template I can just scoot from tile to tile. So how are we looking over here? That one feels pretty good. This one feels pretty good. This is off though, so this center point is off. That's good. Ooh, we could expand this. Let's do that. Let's expand this so that it fits over here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has 5 points of entry on it. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4 points of entry. This is 3 points of entry. This is 4 points of entry. I think this one and this one, those are both pretty good universals. I could tile flip those a couple times and those would be good. So 1, 2. Yeah, we'll perfect the shape and then we'll flip them. Hey, Steve, it's good to see you, my guy. Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, you stepped away for a while, so you could rewatch the front end of this episode if you wanted to catch up on all the theory. But yeah, it's being able to tile it infinitely. Like all the assets that I have for the forest and stuff are tile based. So I have plenty of forest maps that are built into Act 2, like the second part of Act 1, when you actually go from the village into the Carnwood. We'll be doing that next, but we have to finish these maps here, and again we can drop these into the actual. We don't need this anymore. X that out. So when we actually build it, I can have a few of these tiles as. Did I lock up? Did my mouse lock up? Yeah.
There we go. That should make it work. Yeah, my tablet died there for a moment. I've had it for maybe, God, I want to say 2 years. The Intuos 2 Pro 9x12 is it's a $400 investment, but it's a damn good piece of machinery. And then the pen specifically, this is the pen that comes with the Art Pro is just a 2-point stick, where it just acknowledges your position vertically and horizontally across the plane for like pressure sensitivity and size and stuff. But the Art Pen Pro TM, which is standard with Cintiqs, but is a separate sale with the Intuos 2 Pro and other smaller tablets that aren't actual digital displays. This Art Pen has 3 points. So it's got the top point at like where the quote-unquote eraser is at. And then at the tip, it's got 2 diodes, or it's got 2 points that are parallel to each other on either ends of the pen, so that as I rotate the pen, it changes on the Z-axis the orientation of where the pen is actually at. So that's how I can spin my brush. When I have a unique shaped brush like this, or see, I can rotate the brush, and that's because it has the 2 points. Because in the pen, it uses a radio frequency. When you turn your tablet on, it emits a radio signal, and then it just radar, it pings off of this at a unique frequency, whatever the frequency it is that they have assigned to their tablet. But it pings off of their pen and then bounces back into the tablet, so it knows where the pen is at in relation to the tablet. Some pretty fucking high-tech shit for just doing some artwork, but it's amazingly effective. It's good fucking tech. Take this back down to 100. There we go. So yeah, love this tablet. It's good. It's a good piece of machinery, but it's basically it's just a USB connection. Since it's not a display monitor, it's a very simple, just a standard USB connection, and you're up and running. It just acts like a mouse, or a keyboard in that sense. So very simple, but the tech that goes into it is massive. But because it's just a USB, that USB cord, it wears in the socket occasionally. So mine's starting to get a little loose. And after a couple years, it'll break down. I'll have to get a new one or refit it. Hey, Gabby. Doing fantastic. Normally, I wouldn't be here right now, but I'm on vacation today. So I'm on vacation today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. I'm going to actually work on Wednesday, just so that my week isn't too hellish because it's going to be a holiday on Monday as well. So I have today, tomorrow off, and then I have Thursday, Friday, Monday off. So I'll have one day in on Wednesday, and then I'll be back into the office like normal on Tuesdays. So I can run long streams in the morning to do a little bit extra art time. I can take some downtime, pick up my house, do some laundry, go grocery shopping, be super casual with my day. And then I can come back this afternoon like at 3 o'clock and start working on martial power stuff. I might end up working on Spelljammer subclasses some more. My plate is really open. So, but this was the next thing that was on our list to do, and I knew I was going to have some extra time to do it. So I'm pretty excited about that. So this is looking pretty good. I'm about at a place where I'm going to want to think about. I don't need to tile these things until they're good, like good to go good. So I'm going to actually cut these free here and scooch them over here just to create some space, because I want to make another tile. Another like these are like generic tiles that if you flip them or rotate them, I mean, they've got a distinct shape, but they've got enough points, like enough coupling points that they're useful to have over and over again. So just like a generic tile, like these are very, like, I think more unique shapes because I like have these nodes on them. So just having like these recurring just once. Maybe I'd flip this one. Nah, I just leave this once. I can make enough organic shapes like this to be able to tile in another. I only need 5 more of these, so I can easily just fill those up over here, and then I can flip, like I've been talking about, flipping these. So I want to make another one of these. And so what points have I not touched? Those are the points I should touch.
So on this one, we've already gotten, we already have here, and we already have here, and we already have here, and we already have here. Yeah, okay, see? Yeah, both of these touch the same points. So I specifically need to make a tile that's hitting these other points. That's actually kind of important. To that point, would it be best if I didn't just flip this one now? So now we have this point covered. Why are you no longer white? What happened? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That explains a lot. Thank you. Okay, so here's now covered, and here's covered, and here's covered. So literally the only one I haven't covered is this up card. See, that just freed up a lot of space for me. Which ones are recurring? Let's do that. Literally none of them. Wow. Between these two, there's nothing that is duplicated. So that gives me a ton of freedom to do literally whatever I want. So let's take this to back to 100. Drop that splotch in there. So I can literally do with these whatever the fuck I want. As long as I have this. And I have this. Let's see. I don't want to. I don't want to make any particularly large spaces. We can do that. I'm actually off a square. There, and let's say oh, I like this. This is fun. Go like that, and let's see. How about instead we do like this? Yeah, if I put them in the same point, I'm going to want to make them into a bubble. So I don't want to do that. So let's leave that one blank, and let's go over here. Like that. One, two, three, four, five. It's pretty dense. I think I'm good with that. Cats are like that. Gotta love cats. At one point I had 4 cats. 2 brothers and 2 sisters from different litters, different mother.
It was a pair of Siamese and a pair of just American house cat, like solid black, solid gray, and then the two girls were Siamese. They were so adorable. They lived for 19 and 21 years. One of them, the gray cat, we gave away because you can't have gray cats. Gray cats don't play well in groups. It's just something about gray cats. But the black cat and the two Siamese, we kept them. Yeah, 19 and the boy was 21 years. Yeah, the boy was 21 and the girls were 19. No, other way around. The boy was 19 and the two girls were 21. Lived a long, long time. The boy had become diabetic and ended up having a seizure, and he died from that. And then both of the girls' kidneys, they shut down. They're good kitties. I literally have their ashes within hand's reach. They're like, here's my camera. Their ashes are like 1 foot below where my camera is at. I can rest my hand on there when I'm thinking about stuff. Oh, you're trying to read Exploring Eberron? Right on. Eberron's a great campaign. I don't use. I mean, my campaigns are my own. My stories are my own way. I don't care about most of the NPCs that are in the book or the politics that are like established, like canon with a K. But the locations and the general vibe of the Eberron world is what's important to me. It's that vibe, like the different cultures. I keep the cultures in place, like the Gabaran lizard folk. But in my Eberron, they're all luchador tribes, so they all compete with each other like every 5 years to determine which tribe is lead tribe in the Gabaran culture, and that's determined by wrestling matches. And so, but they're also into using Spelljammer lore. The hotter the water that the eggs mature in, the smarter and more powerful the lizardmen that are hatched from it. So in my campaigns, Saurons or Saurians in general, and the people that are in my playtest right now are getting a taste of this, is basically like kobolds, lizard folk, to an extent Kuatoa, and Dragonborn. They're all the same Saurians. And so depending on like how powerful your egg hatchery is determines like basically what you come out as a kobold, a lizardman, Kuatoa, or Dragonborn. Those are your four ranks. And the higher up in rank, like Dragonborn, like they breathe fire, they have breath weapons and stuff like that. Kuatoa often come out with psionics. Kobolds don't get shit and they're small. Lizardmen don't get shit and they're medium sized. So they continue to evolve from there. So in my campaign, they're obsessed with whichever tribe wins, they get the best hatcheries. So their tribe stays stronger. Then that's why you want to win. Whichever tribe's in charge has they get the lava beds, so that all their descendants at that movement forward, you swap out where your egg's going to be at. The tribe that just lost the crown, their last batch of eggs are coming in. They'll be smart and more powerful, but now they can't lay eggs there. For the next 5 years, it's going to be whoever's in charge, and they're going to spit out just a shitload of powerful kids. But then you have this generational rise, right? It only takes 5 years for a kobold to mature, but it takes longer, 5, 10, 15, 5 for kobolds, 5 for lizardmen, 10 for Kuatoa, and 15 for Dragonborn. It takes time for them to come into maturity. And as they come into maturity, they can compete. So if you can stay the champion for three whole cycles, then the creatures that were being born when they came in, they will come out Dragonborn. If you're only in charge for 2 seasons, they're going to come out Kuatoa. If you're in charge for only one season, they're going to come out as kobolds or as lizardmen. So the faster you can stay in place, and the longer you can stay in place, the more and more of your tribe is going to be built up of these higher and higher ranked monsters. So fun. I don't know. That's like, for example, that's one example of how my Eberron is different from other people's Eberrons. But like lizardmen being in Kabara in the Kabara jungle, that's basically like, there you go. That's your soundbite. What's up with Kabara? It's got lizard folks. It's got lizard folk tribes in it. They don't take kindly to outsiders. There you go. That's all you need to know. From there, you can do any kind of Indiana Jones, Romancing the Stone sort of adventuring that you want. And then I layer in this genetic thing that's going on. So you can run an entire Kabara campaign around, like, you're going to be in one tribe, and we could run like bastion turns as like on a monthly basis. Over the course of 50 turns, you've gone through one entire cycle of whoever's in charge. Or like you do it like you have a change of guard at the beginning of the campaign, and then you run through like every 6 months as a bastion turn. And so you update it, so like 10 turns later, there's another competition to see if your clan can take the crown or retain the crown. And if you're going to do a full campaign on 6 month cycles, you would have every 10 adventures would be one cycle. So you could plan it out. So like every three sessions is one bastion turn. So basically each session would be your adventure or whatever, but it'll be 6 months cycling over the course of 3. So it could either be like a separate standalone adventure every 2 months, or you could have like one big adventure, and that's the only adventure that happens during that 6 month period of time. And that's going to be like a 3 session adventure. And if you're like running 4-hour games, that'd be a 12-hour adventure that would take place. You have one of those every 6 adventures. Every 10 adventures, it's time to change the guard. And then you could run, say, 2 full cycles to go from level 1 to 20 with, say, 60 sessions. There you go. Anyway. Like, that's how I could structure a Kabara campaign from level 1 to 20. But I like this. This is a good shape. It's different enough from this one. If I were to crook it sideways, it would roughly feel the same. Is it different enough? Is it different enough? What if I did that? It'd be more like this. And now we're making a knot in the middle of the thing. Maybe a knot in the middle of the thing is not a bad thing. Hold on. Let's play with this for a second. Let's trim this down. So it's like that. That's uniquely different. So I just want to trim this down a little bit. I did a Dark Sun Luchador campaign from level 1 through 6 a few years back. And that was a lot of fun. Dark Sun is a Luchador campaign. It's really fun. The final boss fight that they were messing with that finished off the campaign was a sand kraken. Basically, it's squids that swim through silt, and this clan had a sand kraken. Krakens are smart. We all know krakens are intelligent creatures. So the sand kraken was also basically at human level intelligence, and it knew what it was doing, and it understood our language. It was basically an 8-limbed wrestling octopus. It was fun. The team ended up running from the fight and basically tried to assassinate some rivals instead of focusing on the match. And the last set, the team fell apart. Sometimes teams fall apart, but the team fell apart, and so it left off with them in a cart chase running away from the thugs that they tried to whack, and they failed. And so the Sand Kraken was part of that. So the Sand Kraken, so they're being chased in carts, and the Sand Kraken is one of the carts with like 3 of its minions, and the team is in a cart running away from it, and so yeah, that's and then after that the team fell apart and we didn't get to continue it. So they are lost forever in a cart chase in hot pursuit with a with a Sand Kraken in hot pursuit. It's kind of fun. And I feel like I just sucked all the soul out of this piece. Let's hit that 20-minute marker there. Let's pop through that. Yeah, this needs that top heavy density here for this shape to feel right. So we're just gonna lean into that idea and just curve that out. That becomes a good shape. So I am now happy with that. So we can take these and this. 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'll just build on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll just build on the exterior here, and that'll lead us to where we're supposed to be. So now, yeah, now we can just make unique shapes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's yeah, let's just keep building. Keep making shapes. Let's go here and here. Let's connect these two here and have something down here. We can let's not make a pocket. Let's do this instead. Like that. Yeah, like that. Super simple. So I'm gonna be off screen. I think I'll be logging back in and working on Color Mana Warlocks, I think at 3:30. I'm gonna be off screen most of the day, and then tomorrow I'll be on from probably 6:30 till 9, continuing with this. And then probably jump on at 2 o'clock and run till 5, and then be done for the day. Yeah, tonight we'll go from basically probably 3:30 till 7. I think might be. We'll see. I might actually break it up into 2 separate sessions, depending on how things flow. Like 3:30, like from 3:30 till 6, and then yeah, something like that. Something like that. That's a good shape. Let's do there. Let's do here and here and here. Yeah, let's just do those. Scoot that over. Yeah, like that.
Ooh. Yeah, like something like that. Wait, let's bring it down. Let's bring it down like this. So there's more gap. No, I don't want it going out to the edge, that's for sure. But that's feeling pretty good. Fun. This is fun. Yeah, that's a fun shape. Another one I think might just be interesting. Let's merge this one down. Really simple. If you want to create more space between unusual tiles, then you can just have like a really simple one that just runs like that. Okay, so you could flip these. We could. Maybe. Oh, geez. Maybe having. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. I want four versions of this simple through line. This way, flipped, and then horizontal, and then vertically flipped. Yeah, this way, and then 90 degrees tilted this way and this way. So we have through lines. 4 of those would make sense. So I like that. Let's take this one and bring it over here to reserve this spot for here, 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 and here. And then we have let's cut you free. We'll have 1, 2, 3 of you, 1, 2, 3 of you. So I only really need one more here, because I'm gonna have 4 here, 3 each of these, 3 each of these. Yeah. One, 2. And flip. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry, I'm parsing out how much of what do I need. If that wasn't obvious.
here. Cool. So that means we only really need one more, like, quote unquote, interesting tile here, and then we can get to work on starting to lay in the groundwork and do all the bits. We're about to bit do. There, here. Shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This. Yeah, this is a good one. One, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, we can just fill this in. Big rumble space. Man, if I was a farmer, I'd be pissed that there was all these gaps. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like 30% of my property isn't being used because of all this goddamn corn maze stuff. What's up with that? Like, if there was Fae, like pixies and stuff that are doing like witchlight shit in my corn mazes, man, I would totally hire adventurers to like like, look, I paid, I need to make money off of these crops, and if these Fae keep carving all these pathways through the corn, I'm not making the money I need to. I need you to go get rid of those pixies, and then bam, you get sucked into the Feywild. Ain't that just typical? Sup? Watch the corn right on. Maybe like that. That's kind of close to this one. That's too. I think I like this shape better though. So I think this is the one that's gonna get switched. Ooh, yes, very yes. Let's do that. Stepping off the path, you get eaten by a grue. What I'm probably going to end up doing is a lot. Like I have my block of time in the evening before bed that I don't stream, but I still do artwork. I will probably refine these shapes so that they're all fitting properly. And I think tomorrow will. Yeah, those are pretty good. Tomorrow we're going to actually populate all this stuff. So now that we're getting through the patterning, it's all sitting pretty good. Yeah, so let's just cap this shit off for the day and duplicate this layer here. Scooch that the air. What time are we at? 8:40. Yeah, we got 15 minutes left before this session is officially over. So let's free transform, flip horizontal,
2, and we'll take these, copy, paste, and then free transform. Flip those vertical. There. And then this one. I'm going to transform. Oops. Here again. There. Cut, paste, free transform. Rotate 50 degrees. And then this one. Cut, paste. Free transform. Rotate 50 degrees. There you go. Here. I think I'm missing some text. Hold on. The group must sleep very well. Paste. Here and then there. Good. And then cut, paste. Bring these all in alignment with each other here. We'll take these and we'll let's see, let's take this one. Paste, free transform. Bump, 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 bump. 90 degrees. And then duplicate, transform, flip horizontal. There, so this will get you from one zone to another, so that you can have some distance built into your corner mazes so they're not too crowded. And then connectors. So like you can see these just naturally connect here, and then like this one could connect with this one here to go off in that direction. This one could connect with this one to go off in this direction. So you can, it doesn't have to be compact that every 50 feet you've got another knot of BS you have to deal with. It could be like every 6. You just have these flowing lines of moving along. Let's take this one there. See, it'd be like blah, 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 moving along. Maybe having them a little straighter might not be a bad idea. Like going from like parallel points, that might not be a bad idea for additional tiles. It's not a horrible idea. So it isn't just a straight line. That would be a total of 20 tiles, a D20. 1, 2, okay, yeah, we can do that. Actually, that actually fits. So let's see. It's all just tiles anyway.
So I can take all of these, and then I can make another group.
Let's just do that real quick before our day ends. Roughly like that. Oh, screw you. My day just ended. Aren't you just a pair? There, and then vertically, we're here, and then we're here.
Yep, okay. Oh, and we'll have to have a 21st tile, a tile with no paths at all. So if we have separators, like if this knot is going to be separated, like we're going to have this coming in, and that means that we have like parallel paths that don't have anything in it, it's just raw corn. We'll need a 21st tile to be a gap filler, so that it'll just be, yeah, like I just said, no paths at all through it, so it fills in all the spaces between. So we could do, so between these and then the other 4 that we have, so we have these, so that's 16, and with these, that's 20. And then, so on a D20, you could throw a D20, and I guess like we could like start low and then work our way up. Like, if 1 doesn't make sense, what about 2? If 2 doesn't make sense, what about 3? If 3 doesn't make sense, what about 4? Like scale up like that. And so when you're rolling a D20 and like this would be like a 19, and this one would be a 20, right? So, yeah, so that you'd be able to have a means of being able to randomly generate all these corn mazes. You can just go, like, if it's going to be like 5 tiles, it could just be like you start with your starting point, which could be like this one, for instance, could be your upper left-hand corner start, and then you're going to go to the east, or you're going to go south, and we can just start creating tiles. So that's it for now. Yeah, when we come back, we're going to start. We'll flesh out all of these things, make them do. So that's it for now, guys. I will be back. I think I'm going to be back at 3:30 to start in on finishing up Point Warlocks. So I like. We found a solution to the Eldritch Strike. Mana cost versus spell slots. I'm very happy with it. It's already in the book for those that know. You can see it on the playtest document already, but we'll look at that, and then we'll go into the subclasses, and we'll build out the subclasses today, and probably tomorrow as well. I think maybe tomorrow we'll do Spelljammer stuff. It's been a while since we messed around with that. Maybe that's what we'll do. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. I'll be back in 6.5 hours. I'll see you guys then. Cheers.